good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 26th of March. And Brexit. Oh my God, what a mishmash this has become. Theresa May is in all kinds of hurt. She's hanging on by a thread, and that is going to be the topic this evening. And a warm welcome to you all who are returning to my channel, and a great big shout out to all of you who are new to my channel. And please, if you are, comment, like and subscribe below. It really helps when you click that big red button. And welcome to the conversation. So, what has happened in the last, 48 hours of Brexit negotiations? Well, Theresa May has realised that she cannot get enough support for her third vote, which she can't seem to change substantially anyways, and it's kind of questionable as to whether the Speaker of the House would actually let her table a third vote without any substantive change. And of course, on top of that, the EU has said that they've done negotiating. They are not going to entertain any other substantive changes to the Brexit deal. And Theresa May has upped the ante by throwing into the hat the offer of her resignation should the MPs accept her awful deal for England. Well, now, to add more humiliation to that, MPs are demanding that she give them the date of her resignation. And so, to add insult to injury, we now have the Litecoin amendment. And what the Litecoin amendment did was actually take parliamentary control away from Theresa May. And so now there will be a bunch of what they call indicative votes, and these are alternatives to the Brexit deal put forward by other MPs. And those will be voted on in a series of votes over the next couple of days. And depending on those, there will be a vote on Monday as to whether to accept or to reject the new deal for presentation. And of course, Theresa May has been meeting with Arlene Foster from the DUP, and those talks have not been going very well at all. And another recent development, and a memo leaked from the EU there has said that they will not extend the Brexit date to June. You either make your mind up by the 2-week deadline, or you go towards the end of 2019. And remember, Britain is being charged £1 billion a month for every month that it delays this decision. Okay, so let's take a quick look at these couple of articles that I've got, and we'll come back and I'll do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie, here we go. And here we are, Guardian. Theresa May maintains carry-on regardless Brexit strategy. It was the day that Theresa May was meant to face a full-blown cabinet revolt and a move by Parliament to take control of Brexit. But it soon became clear the anti-May plotters in the cabinet had bottled a direct confrontation. No one actually dealt with the leadership issue. One cabinet source says they didn't even skirt around it. Neither did the cabinet come up with a strategy to deal with Parliament's efforts to force a series of votes on Plan B for Brexit, leaving May to pursue her own favourite formula, ignore them and carry on regardless. The Prime Minister began the morning with an emergency cabinet meeting, sitting around the table with colleagues who are openly campaigning to be her successor, including Jeremy Hunt and Michael Gove, whilst others are scheming to actively replace her with her deputy, David Lidington, as a caretaker leader. According to the people present, she simply ploughed on with her intention to hold a third vote on her deal this week. There was once again no clarity about what she would back if this failed. No deal allowing Parliament to shape a softer Brexit or another public vote. Mordaunt, the Development Secretary, highlighted the Gilets Jaunes movement in France as an example of the consequences of ignoring public feeling by retreating from the Brexit they voted for. And Stephen Barclay, the Brexit Secretary, said the consequences of ceding control to Parliament via indicative votes could well be an election. Despite the sense of crisis, the meeting broke up with no conclusions or any move against the Prime Minister, leading one person backing Boris Johnson's campaign to roll his eyes at the jellyfish in grey suits, who complain about May but refuse to act. Having survived the morning as Prime Minister, May was still hoping she might have won round more MPs to back her Brexit deal, allowing her meaningful vote to be held on Tuesday. But she went straight into a phone call with Arlene Foster, the Democratic Unionist Party leader, which sources said did not go well. Okay, MPs seized control of Brexit process by backing indicative votes amendment. Amendment giving MPs a series of votes on alternatives to May's Brexit deal passed 329 to 302. MPs have inflicted a fresh humiliating defeat on Theresa May, voting to seize control of the parliamentary timetable to allow backbenchers to hold a series of votes on alternatives to her Brexit deal. An amendment tabled by the former Tory minister Oliver Letwin passed by 329 votes to 302 on Monday night as MPs expressed their exasperation at the government's failure to set out a fresh approach. The Prime Minister had earlier declined to say whether she would abide by the outcome of a process of indicative votes. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. EU set to reject Theresa May's bid to delay Brexit to 30th of June. A European Commission note on the Brexit process obtained by Reuters says UK should be faced with a binary choice of either approving a short Brexit delay to May 23rd, the date of the European elections, or a longer delay until the end of 2019. The leak came just minutes after Mrs May wrote to the European Council President Donald Tusk asking for a 3-month delay, arguing that any longer extension would represent a failure and could risk Britain being pulled into fresh European parliamentary elections. So the plot thickens. It will be so interesting to see the outcome. I hope this isn't going to turn into a never-ending, or you may have yellow vest protests in England on the street. So I think you can see what a sorry mess this all is, and goodness knows where it's all going to lead. It just seems like absolute confusion. I think that handing over, to 600 people to decide amendments and alternative plans is going to take forever for that to coalesce. And really, how much can you change this if the EU is not willing to go along with it? And there's been some serious changes. There will be some serious changes in the May elections for the members of the European Parliament. I see that the Netherlands has now turned populist. The populist government is now the largest party in the government, and they are all in favour of leaving. So they are not going to do anything to prevent Britain from leaving. Neither is Italy, probably Hungary and Poland, possibly Austria. All of these are populist governments now who are in control of these countries. And what I can't understand about all of this is that, when you look at the EU, they've been trying this experiment for roughly, 40 or 50 years now. We have had plenty of time to see how it's working out. And what do we see? There are riots on the street, hospitals are closing, schools are closing, banks are going bankrupt, everybody's in debt. There are ghettos of immigrants who have no work and who cannot become citizens and who are completely alienated. There are people camping out in these huge tent cities who have nowhere to live. I think after 50 years, and that's what you've got to show for it, endless broken deals, endless contradictions, endless votes not accepted, putting pressure on countries to retake votes because you didn't like the outcomes, just like Brexit. Now, who would want to be governed under a system like that? I don't know what the solution is, but what I do know is that that's not the solution. That is not the direction that we want to go in. And I suspect it is some kind of strange mix of capitalism and socialism. We'll pick and choose what works and what doesn't work, but you can't shut down the free market and have a complete socialist takeover, because you end up with a country that has no incentive to do anything except build war machines Look at what happened with Russia. We've seen over the years what happened in that country. Okay, and now that it's broken loose of the shackles of communism, it is now starting to rebuild itself and becoming a competitive country in the world market. Same with China. I know China still has some huge issues with censorship and rights and freedom and speech and this kind of stuff, but its model has moved away from communism, where their products get, I mean really, China used to be the laughing stock of the manufacturing industry. Well, it's not anymore. I would say 75% of all goods manufactured are probably manufactured in China. And so they have really put the polish. I know they still have to come up to standard in a lot of ways, but you know, all socialism just doesn't work, I'm afraid. We need some kind of mix, and I suspect that mix will be different for different countries and different peoples, but you cannot completely strangle the free market, because that is what motivates people and gives people an incentive to move forward, be inventive, and get ahead. So ask yourself, is that the kind of system you want to live under? Is that what we want in Canada? Is this what we want in North America, the US, South America? Or do we want to create something that actually works in the real world? And anyway, I'm going to leave you with that question. And so if you have any comments to make, please make them below. Like and subscribe, as I said. And in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve signing off, wishing you a great week coming, and we will talk to you very, very soon. See you now. Bye.